just on the Skype. And now I would like to invite the Speaker of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Vladyslav Seleznyov. Good morning, esteemed colleagues. I'm happy to see you here at the morning briefing. I would like to inform you about the following. In the training centers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the 26-day training of citizens started, and these are the citizens who were mobilized. Before that, the servicemen received these people received the status of servicemen in 169th training center of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Just now, about 6,000 servicemen of reserve from different regions of our country are trained in 100 specialities of land forces. These are mostly tankers and drivers, mechanics. The training of citizens who had the military training before started from practical classes, shooting from different types of small arms and from the military vehicles, driving tanks and other armored vehicles. Also, the instructors of the training centers of land forces are working with mobilized servicemen, and they're teaching them tactics, engineering, and physical training. They train them in providing the first medical assistance. During the practical classes, the instructors are actively using the experience that they gained during the ATO. This year, for the first time in the times of independence, the highest military educational institutions of Ukraine will be graduating the young officers earlier than according to the program. In Odessa region, the future officers and reconnaissance servicemen are improving their combating skills, taking into account this experience gained by the Armed Forces of Ukraine during the ATO. The 4-year students enhance their level of professional skills in the basis of the Center of Training of the Military Academy. During this training, the students are trained in shooting from different types of small arms, from the armored vehicles, and they also are trained in driving the armored vehicles and do many other exercises. The training in the field is guided by the teachers of the chairs of combat use of military equipment, military techniques and tactics, and intelligence. During the training, the teachers model very difficult situations which happen in real battle. During the February, the graduates will have to pass state exams. The knowledge and practical experience that they gain will help them quickly adapt in the collectives of the highly mobile troops and intelligence troops. In the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, the draft resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers on introducing amendments to the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine dated 29th of August 2002, number 1282, is developed. It will simplify the procedure of transferring of the House fund and the objects of infrastructure from the Ministry of Defense to the local authorities. In the process of reforming the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine will have to get rid of non-appropriate functions, including maintaining and servicing the household fund and objects of its infrastructure. Now, this household fund is maintained by the Special Department of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, which exists only at the expense of the payments for apartments. In the result, most of the houses are in non-satisfactory status. There are big debts to organizations, suppliers, and own employees. The 1,163 workers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine are involved into the servicing and the maintaining of the household fund of the Ministry of Defense. In 2008, to address the situation, the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine passed the resolution number 613R, certain issues of disposal of land plots, according to which during 2012-2017, the transfer to communal property of the household fund of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine should be completed. Unfortunately, the local authorities mostly refuse from free of charge transfer of the objects of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine into their communal ownership, because first of all they demand the transfer of land plots and additional military property. During 2014, the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine prepared 6 decrees according to which the houses were free of charge transferred to the communal property to the local authorities. When passing a new resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers on introducing amendments to the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers dated 29 of August 2002, number 1282, the Ministry of Defense, first of all, hopes that the local authorities that they will reach understanding with the local authorities, because the most important tasks and duties of the servicemen now is the defense of our state, but not maintaining and servicing of the household fund and the objects of its infrastructure. The citizens of Ukraine continue to provide assistance to Ukrainian servicemen who execute tasks in the zone of ATO. On all the territory of Ukraine, for participants of ATO, on a charity basis, the civil reception offices are open. This is already in place in Kharkiv, Zaporizhzhia, Mykolaiv, Kovel, and other cities of our country. Now, at the initiative of the NGOs, such civil reception office was opened in Lutsk. The specialist volunteers provide to the participants of ATO consultations on legal issues and on psychological rehabilitation. Such civil citizens reception officers are actively cooperating with the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces of Ukraine. The representatives of the commandership of the military units and military commissariats who consult volunteers on their current activities, provide them support on communication with military units, prepare the requests, and most oftenly asked questions are non-payment or the delay with paying money, the problems of families that are left without the person who's feeding them, and so on. With the purpose to psychologically rehabilitate the participants of ATO, volunteer psychologists are conducting group therapy with servicemen and members of their families. They actively involve the experts of local social services to this cooperation. In the future, such reception offices can become the basis for creation in the state the institutions on providing support and rehabilitation of the participants of ATO. This was the information on the activity of the Ministry of Defense during the last day. Now I would like to give the floor to Anatoliy Stelmakh, who is the Speaker of the staff of ATO. Anatoly, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, we can hear. We are ready to hear the information about what was happening during the night in the ATO zone and during the previous day in the zone of ATO. The night from the 5th to 6th of February was very intense. We registered 19 shellings at Ukrainian positions. At the same time, the combatants activated their criminal efforts in Lugansk direction. During the night, the enemy was shooting from artillery and tanks twice at Stanitsa Luganska, Novotoshkivsky, and Tryokhizbinka. Also, they were shelling at Shastya. In Donetsk direction, the bandits were shelling twice at Novolaspy and Petrivske. The intensity of shellings in the Baltsevsky direction has reduced there. That was during the recent days the hottest point in the east of Ukraine. But even this night, the enemy was 3 times shelling at the city from Grad systems and mortars. Besides, as the Girske settlement was also shelled. In Mariupolsky direction, the enemy was shelling at Lomakina and Pavlopol. To stop the enemy, the servicemen of the Armed Forces of Ukraine were opening the fire in response, causing losses to the enemy. According to the data of the reconnaissance from the 4th till the 5th of February, the ATO forces eliminated 60 terrorists, 4 tanks, and 2 self-propelled artillery systems. Also near Bryanka, our troops blew up 7 storages with ammunition of the illegal armed groups. Yesterday, the drone was fixed, which was conducting reconnaissance of the location of Olenivka, Alexandropol, Tarasivka, and Berezivka. The units, our units, downed the drone. During the day, our military did not leave their positions, and that again confirms that the Russian mass media and provocators are lying as to occupying by the combatants our settlements. Thank you. Please stay with us. We will hear some of the figures from Vladyslav on what was happening yesterday. The humanitarian situation in the zone of ATO is still very tense because of the further escalation of armed conflict. During the day, the illegal armed groups exercised 104 shellings at the positions of ATO. In total, the positions of ATO located in 40 settlements were shelled by the enemy. The result of these, the shellings at our positions, Ukraine lost 1 serviceman, 25 servicemen were wounded. All the wounded are sent to the medical establishments where military doctors are working with them, and they provide them qualified medical assistance. Now, in the hospitals, we have 456 servicemen, including 12 servicemen who are seriously wounded. Thank you. Any questions? To our speakers, Anatoly, I have a question. Please tell what is the situation with evacuation of people? Yesterday there was information that in some places, Shastya, if I'm not mistaken, Girske and Zolote, that the electricity supply lines were broken there. Do you have any information whether these communications are being restored now in these directions? Shastya, Chernuhina, Mius, the terrorists have been shelling mostly, and that is why the infrastructure is pretty much damaged there. And they also cause a lot of damage to local population. But our armed forces are providing all necessary assistance to local citizens, including the assistance in evacuation. Those people who want to leave the zone of the conflict, we help them, we provide the vehicles for them so that they can leave this zone, or the transportation means. Thank you. So see you on Monday. Have good and quiet days off. Thank you, Vladyslav. The briefing of Vladyslav Seleznyov and Anatoliy Stelmakh will take place on Monday at 9 o'clock. And the updated information from ATO zone will be delivered at 12:30 by Colonel Lysenko.